Here's a real quick AR lower build, and just popped this out yesterday. This is a Palmetto Armory lower kit. It's got the adjustable, adjustable stack and all that type of stuff. The only thing I can complain about is they forgot to give me one of these little pins. The trigger pin and the hammer pin are the same, and they forgot one of them in the kit. But they did give me a couple extra springs, and one extra spring and one extra, it's a little plunger thing that goes to lock these pins in. See, behind here, with that little slot there, there's a spring and a little pin. This one, I don't really have problems putting these in. Some people say they're really hard to put in. This front one, but the back one's easy to do because the spring goes in here, and and the pin goes in first, and you have to, this holds it in. This piece here with the buffer tube and all that garbage. So, and I just put some tape around here and I tightened it down with channel locks, even though I have the freaking right tool for it. I put Loctite glue on it. It's kind of cool too. They came with the Loctite there's actually an Allen set screw in here. This thing doesn't really have like the drop down trigger guard like the stock one on the military one. It's got an Allen screw in there. It actually came with some Loctite on it, and it even came with the Loctite on a screw that goes up in here to hold this in, the pistol grip. There's a little, there's a spring and a pin that goes up into the selector switch. And actually, sometimes you got to fit these parts a little bit. Sometimes the little hole that goes up to this selector switch for that pin is not big enough, and it doesn't give you a positive actuation. This does have a positive actuation now, so. And same thing even with the little pin that goes in here. Sometimes that could be, you might have to maybe take like a very minute amount of metal out of there, just clean it up, because to make sure that pin and spring works to go against this pin to hold it in place. I'm talking like, not even a thousandth of an inch, more like 2/10,000ths of an inch or something like that. Something really minute. The part that most people are scared to do is putting on this pin down here, but this is actually easy to do if you know the right method. The right method is to put the pin in a drill, variable speed drill, oil this up, and then push down on the drill like it's a drill bit with that pin in there installed like a drill bit, and then it'll turn as you press. You're not just pressing, you're turning. With oil, it goes right in there. It makes it very easy to install that without breaking this ear off or that ear off on the bottom. The other side of it is, what else? When you install this, you got to have it just enough where it's covering up this little spring here, this little plunger that holds the buffer spring. It's got to be just covered up enough by the buffer tube to hold that in place. You got to make sure, and this Palmetto Armory kit cost, off save. You don't want to actuate it, see? Bolt catch, all works fine. Magazine release, no problem. It actually, the magazine release is very easy to put in. You just screw it in. You got to press this way down, and then turn this until it's almost flush. The inside of this, the screw that screws into the button is almost flush with the button. And make sure you install the button with the little serrations on the outside so your finger grips it better. course, I put the Confederate flag on there. That's just a plastic sticker. I might epoxy something on there with an emblem later on if that sticker comes off. But one reason they don't like this weapon, the gun control freaks, is because you can build them pretty easy. And the problem is, this isn't even the Palmetto Armory's cheapest kit. This is $110. They got one for $99 or $100, and the lower was about $35, but it had to be milled out, right? So the whole thing is under $150, and I had an extra pin in one of my parts kits, so I was able to finish it up. You know, they did forget a pin, man. I was kind of surprised, man. When I work with these things too, and their kit, actually, I like their kit, but I was surprised they were missing a pin. They actually have all the parts individually bagged, like in sets. So in other words, if you're doing, you do like the trigger and the hammer and the spring and the 2 pins first, and then you go on to doing, then you do the trigger guard, right? So they'll have the 2 pins. Well, they were missing a pin, but you know, something happened, I guess. But they have they don't have like all the parts just in one bag, all the small parts in one bag. They actually have the parts individually in different small bags, and they go into a bigger bag. But they were missing, you know, unfortunately, it's like I don't want to knock them because I think they got great kits. It's Palmetto Armory. They're missing a pin, and I guess it might have fell out of the bag before they were put in the other bags. You know, somebody's packaging this stuff. But you know, to their credit, they had a couple of extra of these little springs, these 2 springs and these 2 pins that go for these. They fit in these slots back here. See that little slot? There's like a pin that's inside here with a spring that goes into that little slot. That's what holds it open and closed position. But and you gotta kind of wear in the parts a little bit. This thing does seem to have a pretty good light trigger on it too. It's a nice trigger. You can actually take the cheap ass triggers and just, I don't know, emmer them a slight amount, put some oil on them, break them in a bunch, and you don't need to get no special $300 trigger. That's a BS. I used to shoot 230 something, which is high expert in the Marine Corps all the time. I was all experts all the time. I even had a battalion high shooter with 242, but that's all from practice. That's not some kind of innate skill. So I can comment a lot on, you know, a lot of this bull crap that's going on with the, you know, actually if you want to look at Bill Still's video, I'll actually point to a link to it. Bill Still, down here in the bottom of the video, you know, he's actually formally asking questions if there's some kind of government going on with the, you know, the mass shootings. And I know there is. You know, I'm always laughing at this Rambo Paddock guy. Not that it was a laughable event, but the fact that they try to tell you that this guy can do all that stuff, because if you had 1,000 Paddocks back in the Vietnam War, the war would have been over in freaking a month with 1,000 people on our side doing what he did, because he's Rambo times 25, you know what I mean? You know, it's bull crap. They had like 5 shooters in that freaking Vegas thing. And of course, you know, I'm getting aggravated. You know, I'm decided to put this out because on my other channel, I put out a very upbeat video a long time ago with the Virginia shooting, no blood and crap. And I wasn't even like going down conspiracy trail. It was just a couple questions. Somebody sent me an email with a strike, which I didn't see on my channel, but I was like, you know, if you're that stupid to do that kind of crap, you're pissing me off. You really are. You're pissing me the hell off, big time. And, you know, so I don't really give a crap anymore. I don't know if I got a strike because I didn't see it on here, but I got an email that says I did over something from a couple years ago where I very politely, nonchalantly asked about the freaking the shooting in Virginia, which, man, it was a Hollywood stunt gun. There's no shells being ejected or nothing. I don't want to laugh about it because, you know, supposedly somebody died, but I'm looking at, I've been around these things a long time, man. I'm not an armchair. I'm not a, I haven't been around guns in a while, but, I have been living and breathing these damn things for some number of years, man. Far more than my compadres in the freaking USMC. I can tell you that right now. Most of them freaking watching movies and back in the barracks when I was out there PTing and freaking using, shooting rifles. But, I'm going to tell you that I know what the hell's going on. And that's the main reason they don't like this, is because there's probably hundreds of thousands of these being made all over the place. And they're like, it's a good weapon. You keep it oiled, it freaking works good. The only thing that can happen with this, I don't have the upper receiver on this. It's not a complete weapon, it's just the lower. But, the bolt gets dry, and I can jam it up. This one's probably going to be what you call a AR-47, which will have the 7.62 by 39 millimeter upper. I like that one. That's, it's heavier ammunition, but it's a good popular round. There's like gazillions of tons of freaking Russian steel-cased ammo around. You could shoot real cheap and stuff. And I'm probably going to go with that. But they don't like these things because, they're like, I mean, if you walk in the store and you buy this damn thing, it's like freaking big bucks a gun shop. You're outrageous. You're outrageous. Now, I can get an upper for this thing for under $300 with the iron sights. So the whole thing costs $450. Okay, and that's not crappy crap. It's not crappy stuff. It's good. And the magazines you can get for like $12-15 or something. Good ones, better than the freaking ones they got in the military. They're made out of aluminum that you can freak every time you lay on them and they bend. Freaking military. I don't know what the hell's the matter with our military, man. These magazines they have in the military, they're, aluminum's not bad. I mean, when they first came out, they were good, but they came out with so much better stuff. I don't know why they freaking don't get rid of all that crap and just give you the type of, I don't know, there's some kind of plastics out there that you can run it over with a truck and it just doesn't crush. The Israelis use them. I don't know why we're not using them. Tell you the truth, if the United States ever went to war with Iran, which I hope they don't, because unless we got approval from Russia first, I would rather be under Israeli command than the U.S. command. That's how much faith I got in our freaking yo-yos on the top. If I was still in, that's how I think of it. But I don't know what's going on YouTube. They got a bunch of freaking millennials out there freaking judging videos. I'm getting pissed off at that crap. They can't even. I saw videos out on YouTube where most 6 out of 10 millennials can't even change a light bulb. I don't believe that, but I think a lot of them, well, I could tell you freaking 99% of them probably couldn't build this thing, which is no problem. This is easier to do than working on cars. I mean, this is like doing a spark plug change or something. I mean, it's nothing to it, an oil change. That's how easy it is. And when you do this, it's like you understand everything. It's like in the Marine Corps, we're like, you can't take this apart, you can't take that apart. But, this, I put the whole thing together, so I know exactly what the armorer knows. You have to give it back to the armorer. You can't disassemble this. You can't disassemble anything in here except for maybe take this out and clean that. But since I put it together, I understand everything about it. That's the advantage of putting them together. And the kits, I don't know, the kits seem to be pretty cheap, man. The kits seem, I don't know, the kits are pretty freaking, the kits can vary in price too, but Palmetto Armory, that's from South Carolina. That's where my lineage goes back to. I'm from, my grandfather, I'm from up New Jersey. I was born and raised up there, but my grandfather, my father's side, South Carolinian all the way back to the American Revolution. Not just the Confederacy. And actually in the Confederacy, they were heavily there were units that heavily got wiped out. They only had like 50-something survivors in the 21st Regiment and the 8th Regiment. That's where my lineage comes from. Also got it going back to the American Revolution, which is with General Francis Marion. One of them was a captain in his brigade. One of them was a ranger under Captain Wise's Rangers. And his son joined up, which is my 5th great-grandfather. He joined up in the American Revolution when he was 16 years old. You know? I'm DNA from the USA. All the way. I mean the real USA, not the freaking blah, blah, blah. It's just the only flag that counts anymore, these flags. You see? The new one, the stars and bars, and hanging that one up. I don't give a crap about that one no more. I'm very much reconstructed. But, and yeah, you want, when you know, this is semi-automatic. It's the same thing. I think in the future, I'm going to make these gray. So it's not a black rifle. And I'm going to put, so it'll be gray, like the Confederate gray. This was anodized, that's why it's black. And not a real dark gray, like a just regular gray. And it's going to have this flag in there epoxied on. It'll be like an emblem, like a waving flag. And I'm going to have one of those on there. It doesn't be my future builds. But the Palmetto Armory kit is pretty good. I just hope they're not missing any more pins anymore. Because I'm going to get some extra parts. You know, I asked them to send me a pin. Because I had to take it from my other parts. To make this one work, I had some spare parts laying around. But then, I don't have any spare parts now. You know what I mean? So, and the trigger, like I said, on this thing, it's a nice, I don't know, maybe it's just lucky. It's a nice trigger. You don't want to slam it into there all the time. So, it's cute. And you know, I don't think nothing of these stinks. Like people get all freaked out, but you know, I got power tools. I got you know, chainsaws. I tell you the truth, I'm more scared of freaking messing around with a chainsaw than I am with freaking AR-15. Chainsaws, you gotta watch, man. I got that 24-inch McCulloch. I got 20-inch McCulloch. I got the little freaking 18-inch arbor saw. And you even got to watch your circular saws. And even when you're crawling underneath the car and you're freaking doing stuff, you got to watch how your car's jacked up. Stuff can fall on you. Working on electrical work, you got to watch what you're doing there. Going up there on the ladder and trimming tree branches. You got to be careful. Actually, guns are, I mean, I respect guns. I mean, obviously, you know, rifles and guns and pistols and all that garbage, but it's not, yeah, I mean, if you're, you know, I can see what's going on today. If you're freaking some kind of idiot that doesn't even know how to change a tire, you know, that's pretty scary, man. So, they dumbed down everybody, made them into a bunch of freaking idiots, so they're afraid to do anything. They don't know how to use their cell phone. You know, and actually I do know what's going on with all the BS. Well, you know, I'm going to point to a link on that Bill Still video. You can watch that thing. At least he's saying it. I mean, I already know what's going on, man. I know it's been going on for a long time. I know it's been going on since the 90s. I can't say it on YouTube, but I've got really very, very, very pissed off whoever. I don't even know if I got a freaking strike on that channel, the other channel. But there's nothing showing up. It's just, your video was removed. I'm like, where? It's not removed. I was going to freaking contest it. I was saying, get out of here. This thing is like so polite and lame and blah, blah, blah. Like, you got to be kidding me, man. I'm toning it down like crazy. And I'm getting it for something from freaking 2.5 years ago or something. Well, you got to be kidding me. 2 years ago, whatever the hell that was. I'm like, get out of here. So, I already know what's going on. But, you know, the politicians that are going along with it, they're not in the long-range plan either. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're going to be thrown under the they're going to be thrown under the meat grinder, let the bus. Politicians, they don't care. They just think they got it. They think from here to here. They don't think down there, you know. They're going to get it. Actually, even the people, yeah, if you look at Facebook, man, look at that thing. It's coming down like a freaking empire, just crumbling, man. I never was really, I think I signed up for Facebook sometime years ago, and they keep sending me these stupid emails. I never got on there. I said, this thing's stupid. But they're falling apart. Remember what happened to MySpace? They fell apart. They're still around, but nobody freaking uses them. I mean, I don't even know what goes on with Tumblr. I think I just designed all this social media to freaking waste your time. And hopefully I'm not wasting your time telling you this stuff. I mean, there's other videos out on YouTube, if they didn't remove them, how to make these things work. These bills. But they're not that hard to do. The most dangerous part where you could break something is when you put that pin in on his ears. And even this thing, oh yeah, when you do this bolt catch thing here, you want to start it. You want to start that pin in here first and have it in there pretty far, and then use your channel lock pliers with some oil, then line this up, and it's got a spring in there with a plunger. That holds the bolt back. So in the last, you know, to release it, you press this down and it'll go, you know, and the bolt goes forward. But you want to start this roll pin first. Just put a little tape over here and then use so you don't scratch this. Say you scratched it, so what? You should see the freaking rifles in the military. They can freaking half the paints off them, for crying out loud. And if you break something, JB will. You know what I mean? Say you broke one of these ears off, just JB weld the trigger guard in there, man. I mean, it's not an essential part, so it doesn't pass GQ standards, right? Who cares, right? I mean, this one looks pretty. Ain't nothing wrong with it. No scratches on it or nothing for now. So I think all these parts are made. Yeah, it says made in the USA, man. Yeah. Yeah. This trigger guard, this pistol grip has got a little cap on here that goes on the bottom, which I guess is good because maybe you could put something in there or something. I don't know. I don't know what the hell you put in there or something. You can put something in there. See? It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good build, man. You know. So, anyway, I'm a Cooter's Garage apprentice. So making that easy to do, right? They should have had these on the Dukes of Hazzard, man. They should have had these and lots more moonshine. And the General should have been running off the moonshine, you know, the old freaking Dodge Charger. And they should have had some El Caminos in there, more El Caminos. Like Jesse should have been, Uncle Jesse should have been driving an El Camino instead of that Ford F-100. That'd been pretty wild.